This is Warehouse Peasant. Thanks for joining us. So what I want to get into right away today is hard work. The 9 to 5, the mirage that big cities are, and where is our future? Because I think that's all a lot of us who are hoping we don't get nuked by a dirty bomb or something else. That's what we're hoping for, is that what are we supposed to do? But I have some proof here about hard work and what hard work actually means. So as you know, when I was younger and you were younger, age 40 years to aging millennial, you were always told, put on your work gloves, get up early, right? Put on your work gloves. Don't complain. Go out there. Let's just say, for example, a guy like me, a simple dude, a simple man, puts on his work gloves, goes to that job every day, and then works the second job on the weekends, which I did last year, and it made me insane. Let me add that. I got these gloves brand new October 1st, okay? Now, you can't super see on the outside, okay? Now, I drive a forklift and I lift boxes, I lift crates, but within, let's see here, October, November, December, January, February, I just got laid off. March, not even counting March, 5 months. So in 5 months of hard, back-breaking work, this is what hard work is. This is what hard work looks like. See that? Okay, so when you hear things about peasants, this is my peasant clothes. I got this at a Renaissance fair once, really cool. But this is what I'm talking about, okay? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That was for the picture, I had to do it. Is that you will work your fingers to the bone. Let me explain. So now I'm working on this house. I would work at my warehouse job, forklifting, picking up boxes, running carts, walking 20 miles a day. You name it, I did it. Even at 40, I'm still in great shape. I'm still a really good athlete. I have great genes, so I'm blessed for that. Hallelujah to the Lord above, right? Hallelujah, have mercy. Now, I've been doing some other stuff, and I wasn't wearing my gloves the last few days when I was working at home. And this is what I mean, is look at my hands. Okay, so you can't really see it there, but they're bone dry, and they're scraped up. Scraping's not bad, okay? I don't even mind scrapes and cuts. You can't see it, sorry. Yeah, you can't really see the scrapes or cuts, the camera. But what I can show you is that. I'm not trying to flick you off. Let me see here. Okay, you see that chunk missing out of my finger? I did that yesterday working on my house. I was not wearing my gloves, okay? So I diced my finger there, and it hurts like a mother. Bleep, bleep, bleep. You can kind of see it there. I took out a deep chunk of skin when I was cutting the bushes. And I don't even think it was when I was cutting. I kept using the clipper so long that it started rubbing. And again, this is the medieval peasant thing that if I would have had my gloves on, imagine how much more flesh from my body would have been given up. And that's, it's okay if you work hard. If you want to work your fingers to the bone, be my guest. Work your fingers to the bone. Don't listen to me. But here's where I have an issue, okay? I'm trying not to curse in these videos anymore. Here's where I have a mother issue. Is that if you are willing to work that hard to the point within a few months your gloves are burnt through from picking up boxes and you have nothing to show for it, or you're still going into debt, and this is a representation, my friends, as the warehouse peasant, if you will, of if you work your ass off in America nowadays, there is no long-term reward. And therefore, I think it is fair to say we all need a little bit of an escape plan. Escape plan 1, I discussed in my other videos. Escape plan 1, get the hell out of big cities. They cost too much. They are economic vampires that are wiping out the middle class. If you made like 50 to 80 grand, I don't know what middle class even is anymore, you're toast. All those jobs are disappearing. You may wake up tomorrow and there may be a robot that doesn't need gloves because his hands are made from steel. He may have your job tomorrow. Okay, my warehouse job may be taken by a robot that doesn't have hands of flesh, if you will. To be or not to be, that is the question. To be of metal or to be of flesh, that is the question. we don't know where our jobs are going to be if we have jobs, okay? Fingers to the bone. Now, one awesome thing, though, about working your fingers to the bone, if you have gloves on, is it's free air conditioning. Okay, that's my stupid joke, right? They're air conditioned now. That was my joke. That was my joke at work. Manually air conditioned gloves. But in the olden days, like if you look at Detroit, real quickly here, if you look at what was going on in Detroit in the 1950s and 60s, it didn't last long. 40s, 50s, 60s, post-war 45, probably the 65, 70 is when it started collapsing. Detroit started collapsing in the early 70s because all the jobs, educationally speaking, were moved to what was called maquiladoras, from what I understand, and then went overseas. And maquiladora is a small warehouse manufacturing city right on Mexico, where instead of them paying the guys at Ford or Pontiac, Chevrolet, or GM, instead of paying those workers 20, 25, 30 an hour way back then in the 60s, early 70s, and with all these benefits, pensions, retirements, all these things, instead of doing that, they moved her down to Mexico where they could pay them $3 or $4 an hour. Because think about it, if I'm paying $30 an hour for labor, they can pay a dude in Mexico $3 or $4 an hour. I'm not saying it's moral or ethical. It's a logical sense of reasoning. And here's why America, in essence, has been hollowed out to the point dudes like me that are willing to break their back at the ripe old age of 40, right? and burn through, literally, this is mainly from cardboard boxes. Think about that, dude. Okay? That's what that's from. 3 to 4 months of cardboard boxes. And then driving forklift and stuff, etc. And some pallets, but mainly just, this is just cardboard, that much. There's no pension. There's no retirement plan. You could have like a 401k plan. And I had one once, but I got screwed, so I'm never going to have one again. I don't believe in that kind of crap. And yes, it can work out in to your advantage sometimes, but a lot of times it doesn't. So my point is there's no, as I pointed out in my other video, there's no ROI, right? What is ROI? Return on investment. If you want solid ROI, you have to, if you're going to work your fingers to the bone, to the flesh, right? Okay? If you're going to do that, then you will only get some ROI if you're doing it for yourself or your own business. And even at that, it can fail. But I'm looking at doing a fixer-upper. It's like, I'll get a return on investment through my blood, my sweat, and my tears, okay? But if I keep laboring, whether it's at a warehouse, yonder, so to speak, or that direction to the way of Walmart or whatever, and again, nothing against any of these places, okay? Nothing against it. I harbor no ill will against any particular company or anything like that. I'm just saying that they're paying what they can pay. Now, the one joint I was working at, they pay exceptionally well for like part of the season, and they used to pay better, but because their sales have gone down because of tariffs and people not buying stuff, they can't afford to pay it. Because, dude, they might buckle. So a lot of people are really mad at companies because they're not paying and they're not doing this, when the truth of the matter is they probably would pay more, but they can't because the entire economy sucks. I attribute a lot of that to the convenience economy. Corporations cannot afford to do good things for their workers anymore because their stock is already down and they're low on money and low on sales. Okay? And then we arrive at this situation. The air-conditioned, work your finger to the bone glove, right? Is that you can toil and toil away in a warehouse as long as you want, my friend. But I promise you, with inflation's going like this, okay? Cost of food's going like that, housing's going like that, and you're here, watch, okay, you get what I'm saying. It's not rocket surgery, right? That, it doesn't matter how good or moral of a person or ethical you are regarding how hard you work at your job. Because hard work simply does not have the meaning it had in 1920 or 1950, even 1970. I would say since the 70s it's been a slow, but really in the last 20 years it's just been because wages suck. That's all I got for the video mainly. That's all I wanted to talk about is hard work is not the answer. The answer is having an escape plan to escape the system and escape all of its fees. So keep that in mind, my friends. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you think. Have you spent 10 years at a job? Have you spent 30 years? Did you get fired randomly or laid off randomly after 10 or 20 or 30 years and you got screwed out of a pension, screwed out of whatever? Is that you? Leave a comment below. Let me know what your story is. Share the temporarily whatever misery, because we're all going through it. Thanks for watching.